Hi, you're listening to the My Body, My Story podcast.
I'd say to be kind to yourself and never be a person that you don't want to be, because you feel you need to be different for somebody, for a partner, or and sometimes I think
This is the 45 over 45 chapter, where we celebrate rule breakers and role models, the women who inspire us to live life our way and to show their sensuality, beauty, soul, and true essence. Here we talk about what it's like to be 45 plus, adjusting to the changes that come with time, and we'll listen to the stories of our participants. If you have an interesting story to share, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us on info@alexandrawalker.com, and that's Alexandra spelled with a KS, or visit our website alexandrawalker.com.
Hi, Linda.
hello.
It's nice to see you again. Today we're meeting via Zoom because we met just before our big lockdown for your photo shoot, and we didn't
only hours before.
Yeah, you were the last one before this big lockdown, and not last in the project, and we didn't have chance to record our interview, so now we're meeting a couple of months later via Zoom. And I'll be interviewing you and asking all the questions. So let's start, and tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Linda Jane Fuller. I'm 45. I was 45 in May. I'm a mother of two. So my daughter is 20. My son is turning 17 tomorrow. And a big milestone today in our family was he's signing out of school today. So he completed year 11. And signing out today, so that's a big day for us here in the family.
Congratulations!
So I'm a single mum. I divorced for 8 years, but I do get on very well with the kids' dad, and we have a very dysfunctional, happy family. So I'm youngest of 3 children. My mum and dad are still happily married, well, sometimes happily, sometimes not, together, and pretty happy with where I am in my life right now.
That's good. So what are you most passionate about?
Right now, I'm most passionate about my business. So I'm a beauty therapist. Mm-hmm. I have been in this particular business for the last 8 years. I was fortunate enough not to have to work while raising my children. Then when my marriage broke up, I obviously had to start working and build up my business again. So I created Cater Beauty and Nails, which Cater comes from the 2 names of my children, Kaya and Damon. And for 8 years, I've been trying to build it up. I've worked mostly on my own, and up until just recently, always a home business, and decided to sell my family home, so I had to relocate my business to a commercial property now. So this is kind of a pretty big achievement in my career, being able to, go out into the big world, not just have the safety of a home business. And so we do all aspects of beauty, but traditional beauty. So we do traditional facials and nails and waxing and all of that kind of thing. I've always maintained that level and left, all the machines and lasers and injectables and all that kind of thing to the other people that do that well and spend a lot of money getting into that.
That's nice. That's all what we love. All we women love.
Well, yes, everyone's knocking on my door, literally almost saying, when can they come back?
Yeah, hopefully we will be open soon, and you will continue you like it's a new milestone moving to commercial property. Like it's quite a brave step, I can say.
Yes,
And
definitely.
yeah, so we will I will leave the link under the post wherever we post your interview, so everyone who's interested can check you and visit your wonderful business.
Yes.
So everyone knows that with age we change, but what positive changes have you experienced so far?
Okay, so I'd say the most positive change, in particular in the last 8 years since, leaving my marriage and making that, a pretty big decision to do that. I guess my independence as a woman is my greatest achievement, really. Going through a divorce and, having young children, it comes with a lot of guilt, breaking up the family, and especially being the one who chose to leave the marriage. So, watching my children deal with that and adapt to the new, having dad and mum and 2 separate homes, and I guess a lot of the last 8 years it being quite not volatile, but a lot of anger around their home life, and very difficult, and so since then, I guess my greatest, my biggest, I feel my achievement is that I've grown personally into a very independent, strong, independent, resilient person. And doing that, knowing that my children are watching, and especially my daughter coming into her early adulthood, and being aware that she could see the hurt and the anger and all of that. And I guess trying to teach her by example when she comes to that time in her life, if she comes to that time in her life, how to deal with things like that. She's seen me, both my children have seen me in relationships that I've had since their dad fail, and it's been hard, and I've gotten involved with different people, maybe financially, and it's been a difficult road. So I guess my strength and independence that I've developed over the last 8 years is I'm in a pretty good place now.
Yeah, it's a great example for them.
Yeah.
How they can be strong in hard times.
Resilient. Resilient. Know how to deal with different situations, because you never know what's coming.
And it's interesting that your kids the same. Like my son is 21 this year, and he just started his independent life, and seems like he's surprised at how many things he has to deal with. Like before living with me, like I'm also a single mom, and he wouldn't think about it, even though he saw how hard it is from time to time, but he wouldn't realize until he started living on his own how many things we deal with, like rent, bills, like mental issues and all that stuff. And I think it helped them to go through those adulthood stuff, because they seen us, how we managed. And they think,
definitely,
like if my mom could, then I definitely can as well.
That's right. Well, you have no choice. As you become an adult, you become independent and become your own person. You have no choice but to deal with the challenges that come up in life.
Yeah. And having good example helps a lot.
I really do see in my daughter now a lot of myself, and which some things are not so great, her stubborn personality, and but important things, you know, resilience and strength, just personal strength.
Yeah.
And it makes me really proud.
So what is the biggest challenge you're experiencing at this age?
Well, again, it sort of surrounds my children. My biggest challenge at the moment is that, especially now my son finishing school, they're both independent with they have their licenses, and I'm struggling at the moment deciding as a mum how much of the reins I let go. You know, when is it okay to start making decisions for myself again?
Yeah.
As my own person? You know, I don't have to baby these children anymore. They're always going to be a part of my life. But when is it okay to, you know, if I want to move to the beach, is that okay being 50 minutes away from them? If I want to go on a holiday, is that okay to decide where I want to go and say, no, you can't come?
Yeah.
I'm struggling with that challenge with that at the moment. You know, I'll always be a mum. I'll always be their mum, but it is a very real struggle for me at the moment, especially being in the position where I'm about to sell my home. And my daughter, in lockdown, my daughter has actually moved out with her best friend into a little place out in Oakdale, which is out on a little farm where her dad has another property. And it just came out of the blue because they wanted to spend the lockdown together, but they couldn't come and visit each other, so they decided to move into this little apartment. And now they're talking about moving into a rental in Wollongong, and I'm like, oh,
wait a minute.
Yeah, what am I going to do? So yeah, that's my biggest challenge at the moment.
Yeah, it's start identifying yourself with something else than just mother or like being
Yes.
mother. And
yes, because as soon as you start thinking like that, the guilt that I feel is dreadful. It's such a heavy feeling of guilt, but I know I shouldn't. I think that's just being mum.
Yeah. Very, very similar. I heard very similar problem, as you can say, with the women who have kids out this age, and that suddenly to decide, okay, what am I now? Like, I've been mom, I had to take care all the time about them, and now not that they don't even want it, like, and what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
A new life.
Yeah.
So what is your greatest accomplishment?
That's easy. Again, my children. Absolutely my greatest accomplishment. Yeah, they have. It makes me emotional. Yeah. 1 second. They're just amazing. You're not going to record that, right?
I will start crying now as well, because I'm with you. I understand, like, when I start talking about my son, I feel the same, especially when you see them grown up and you just think, wow, I did that. Like, I was the mother who helped them to grow up in such beautiful humans. And
yeah.
It's I understand. Yeah. And
yeah, just really proud.
Yeah, it's great that you feel proud about them. Not all parents are lucky enough to have kids who they're proud about, and I think it is a greatest accomplishment having.
Yes.
I want to say.
I knew that would happen, and my daughter, she said, "Don't cry, Mum. Don't cry."
You didn't listen to her.
I did. I tried.
So,
and just to add to that, you know, not just the people that they are, but the relationship they have with each other. You know, they have a great relationship. They're great mates. They're great friends. They care for each other like family. It's really, really just so enjoyable to watch. You know, their humour and their bantering between one another. Yeah, it's lovely.
Was it like this from they've been children? Because sometimes the kids usually have rivalry, you know, and
yeah, you know what? I must say they've always been great friends, and I think that, you know, the breakdown of the family, my daughter took on that real motherly role to my son when he was, because he struggled more than her. I think openly, my daughter struggled just as much, I think, but she held a lot inside, whereas my son openly struggled with the whole situation, and she really took on that motherly role when I wasn't there. Yeah, so, yeah, they've never really fought. They have their arguments, but nothing like you hear of some siblings.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
it is a great achievement.
Yes. I think so.
So, what advice would you give your 30-year-old self?
That it's okay to be who you want to be. That when you become a wife, or you become a partner, or you become a mum, which, you know, is likely to happen at that age, around the 30-year-old age group, younger or maybe some older, I think we lose our identity a little bit without even realising. We tend to try and conform to, you know, to be who we think we should be sometimes in a relationship. We need to stay home, or just because we're married, or just because we're a mum now, we can't do things that we love to do. For example, you know, I've grown up with a dancing background when I was younger, so I've always enjoyed every now and then getting the girls together and going to the nightclub and, you know, getting up on the podium and dancing and being myself, taking myself back to those teenage years. But I felt, and I don't remember by any influence, you know, I don't think it was influenced by my husband at the time. I just felt like I shouldn't do that. But now I step back and I see myself in those years, and I feel like I maybe missed out. I think I wasn't myself. I didn't allow myself to enjoy that part of me before, aside from being a mum and being a wife, and especially when the kids are younger. But I think definitely not to feel like you have to be somebody other than who you are. You're not doing anything wrong by, I mean, I'm not talking about cheating on your husband or anything like that. That's, you know, that just being yourself, just doing things that you enjoy, whether it be on your own or with your partner, or get, you know, have your grandparents or have your best friends look after your children if they're young, and go away and not be a mum for a weekend or a week, or because as long as they're, you know, if you were to leave your children with somebody, you know that whoever you leave them with, they're safe and they'll be okay. And I really feel like I didn't do that enough, but I feel like I'm doing that now. And I'm grateful now that I have a relationship with my children now that I can do that with. But yeah, I think never lose sight of who you really are inside.
Yeah, not just concentrate on the being a wife or mother. Just don't forget about your own personality. We often. Hopefully this generation, the new generation, is more educated about that, and they try to live a balance. Like from what I see from younger families, they try to live more balanced women life, like being mother, being wife, and being herself, to having her own time or her own interests, and it's okay. So,
and I think we lead by example in when we are like that. I think as our children get older and are more aware of what mum and dad are doing or what mum's doing, or, you know, we lead by example, and it's okay to not, if I mean, I'm in a relationship now, which I'm very happy in, but it's okay that I might want to have a night with the girls, or, you know, I still do the things that I like to do, and not that I don't want to be with my partner. It's okay to be me still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So what advice would you give younger women generally who will eventually undergo these changes before they undergo this age change?
I'd say to be kind to yourself and never be a person that you don't want to be, because you feel you need to be different for somebody, for a partner, or and sometimes I think as young people, men, women, we feel like we have to be in a relationship, perhaps someone that we don't want to be, or someone that we really are, you know. Just never lose sight of who you are, and
Just be yourself.
never be ashamed to ask for help or ask for advice, or don't. I think society now, with depression and things like that, I think it's not such a, you know, to have therapy for different things in life, it's not such a taboo now. We all talk about it, and we all encourage people to do it for all different kinds of things in life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just never lose sight of who you are again.
Yeah. And I feel like it's a good continuation to this question, the next one, about the perfect body image. Where do you think this idea comes from?
I think it's a very personal experience, where our body image comes from. It could be, you know, it could come from perhaps we were bullied at school when we were younger, about our weight or our appearance. It could come from seeing our mum and dad fighting, and, you know, maybe one or the other having a personal attack at them in an argument or something like that, or our friends growing up and you know, the other girl always being the one to be asked out on dates. Or I think there's lots of things that can create a negative body image, or just a negative image of ourselves. I do think currently, you know, in our current society, social media has a lot to do with that, with all of these influencers that are now on Instagram, and not so much. I feel like the advertising industry has changed a lot from when I was growing up, and, you know, all body types are represented now. Yeah. So I think that helps with body image. But yeah, I really think that it can come from very different. It can be developed from lots of different places.
Mm. So you think it's in our own heads, this image?
I think so. Yeah.
Piece by piece, it comes to the puzzle which is in our head.
Yeah, and, you know, and then that's when I guess it's important, going back to when you asked what advice I would give, you know, what advice you give to someone. It's so hard though, because you think so differently now as a 45-year-old woman to when you were that age, and was so easily influenced by so many things in life, especially when it comes to body image, where, you know, from such a young age as girls, where, we start growing boobs and we start growing hair, and it's really difficult. I think back, and even watching my daughter, it's a really, really difficult time. And I think, it's very personal. It's a very personal experience. I think the reasons that and different reasons why we can create a negative body image, self-body image.
What I noticed when I photographed you, I was pleasantly surprised how free you, like, it looks. I don't know, I just wanted to ask, is it the same what you feel? Because it looked like you are so comfortable in your body, you were such a fire, in no problems at all, not thinking like, oh, how do I look here, how do I look there? So I thought, oh my God, this lady is really comfortable in her own body. So what I want to ask,
you helped with that.
how was it always like that, or what
No.
makes you comfortable in your own body? What makes you feel comfortable?
I think now I think, growing up and dancing, I was a dancer up until I was, I think, 18, and from a very young age. And then I started cheerleading, and then I was doing promotional work in nightclubs and different things like that. So, but funnily enough, I look back at photos and I had the perfect figure back then, but I still thought, no, she looks better than me. And then when I married my husband, or my ex-husband, he was in the fitness industry. So I actually, all of my married life and before my married life, I was always in the gym industry. I didn't work in the gym industry, but I was surrounded by people who had, who worked on their bodies. And so I guess being in that industry, you feel like you have to look the part. Although I wasn't working in it, I was the gym owner's wife. So I felt I always had to look after myself. And I can't say that when I had children, that was a real struggle, because obviously our bodies change. And then I think from then on, I really struggled for a long time and felt like I had to get back and I had to look the part. But I think probably since divorcing the kid's father and leaving that and becoming so much more independent and creating this new life for myself and the kids, I think I don't know when it was. I just felt I don't have to look a certain way. As long as I feel healthy, to me, as long as I feel good inside, then that's okay. I'm not so much worried anymore when I look in the mirror and see, I feel like I'm 25, but then I look in the mirror and I think, no, those wrinkles are not 25-year-old wrinkles. But yeah, now I'm okay. I must say it was always a struggle for me, although I don't think at any point in my life, your weight fluctuates as you get older, but yeah, I'm quite confident now in myself and my body, and and I think that's attractive. My partner now says that's attractive to other people, whether it be male or female. They when you show confidence and that attracts them, whether or not you've got the perfect figure-8 body or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed, and you made it very easy. I felt very comfortable with you. And, once we warmed up and we got into a bit of a groove, I could have done it I couldn't have done it for any more longer, because I walked away limping.
Yeah.
And here and back there.
Yeah. So what does it mean for you to feel good and look good? What comes first? So obviously you answered partially.
Yeah, definitely feel good. I think when you feel good, you you look good. People feed off that. When you feel good, then you are more confident within yourself, and I think that's more important. That comes first.
And what makes you feel most beautiful?
I think what makes me feel most beautiful is people when they mention and they talk about how kind I am and generous with just my personality. I'm not talking about tangible things, money or gifts, or I get so much more joy out of giving than receiving. It's not to me. I don't need to be told I look beautiful to feel beautiful. I feel beautiful when people tell me, or when I know I've made someone feel nice, or I've helped someone, or that to me makes me feel beautiful.
That's great. And what is your favorite quote about being a woman?
Oh, I am woman, hear me roar. Did they all say that?
A couple of people, yes, mentioned that. And I didn't know, to be honest, before the first lady mentioned that, and then second lady mentioned that. And I decided I'd go and check what is that, and it's, I didn't know about this song and this lady. It was interesting to learn. But I'm sure that everyone who listens, they know.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Linda. Thank you very much for joining our project, for your really bubbly personality and beautiful soul. And thank you for answering the questions. And all the best with your new chapter in your business and your life. And
thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It was lovely to meet you and experience this with you.
If you have an interesting story to share, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us on info@alexandrawalker.com, and that's Alexandra spelled with a KS, or visit our website alexandrawalker.com.